I am Vader, Darth Vader. I sense the Force is strong with you, so let's get right into this epic episode.
Good evening and welcome to the Media Division. Today's a very special edition, at least for me, because I dressed to the occasion because we are doing one of my all-time dreams. We're gonna recreate the Goldfinger intro, which is one of my favorite iconic pieces of cinema history. And because just copying is too boring, we're gonna do it with a gist. We're gonna include another iconic franchise, and that is gonna be Star Wars.
Who doesn't love the iconic visuals of Goldfinger's title sequence? And we are going to take these Bond visuals and turn them into a versus mix with one of the greatest villains of film history, Darth Vader. Goldvader is a homage to two giants of cinema and to those who gave them to us. We explore how projectors are used for visual effects, analyze the original production, and show you, step by step, how we executed the production with minimal equipment. After that, we will go into the details of the post-production, including grading and how to avoid the mistakes that we made. That is one hell of a ride ahead, so buckle up and beware of a ninja attack at halftime.
So, what's not to like about that? Let's do it. Let me loosen up a bit because it's hotter than I expected it to be. When we plan a project like this, the best thing to do is to look into how they did it in the original. And thank God there's very good documentation on how they set up the scene, how they did up the makeup, and we're gonna go into that in a second. But I would like to start with the projector itself. The projector is a very nice and versatile tool for filmmakers in the past, and it's still today. Projectors are very interesting lights because they can be any light you really want. They can change colors, so they are RGB lights, and they can transmit shape and movement, and they have a built-in Fresnel. They're relatively cheap for the light that they actually will give you, so it's interesting. They are so bright, and as you usually shoot in a dim environment and you're close to your subject, it makes sense to have a little cheap plastic ND, and that you can just drop in front, and then you have something which is a bit more friendly to exposure, because these little can be bright.
The most classic application of projections was to merge scenes that were shot in different locations, like here in 2001. The projectors were so powerful and the costumes so warm that Kubrick could only shoot for short periods. Doctors had to be on set all the time in case of heat strokes. Projections were used to blend miniatures with pre-shot real-life actions, like here in the legendary Ad 209 sequence in the original RoboCop. This gives the advantage that reflective surfaces blend with their surroundings. Of course, this works very well the other way around, like here where a pre-shot Terminator miniature is projected on a scene in front of real-life action, giving the actor cues to react to. Ouch. 2001 has way more projector action, like when flat screens are in the screen. Sometimes whole sets had to be cut apart to give the illusion of a handheld flat screen device, and here is where Kubrick invented the iPad. iPad Pro, that is.
How's everything going? Marvelous.
2001 used the same projections on the actors themselves for a more artsy look. And that is what we are going for today.
Hello, Hal, do you read me? Do you read me, Hal?
Kubrick was by no means the first to use this technique. 6 years earlier, From Russia with Love projected its titles onto the body of a dancer and thereby setting the stage for the most iconic use of projectors, in the title sequence of Goldfinger. Developed by Robert Brownjohn, it had its own storyline and became a seductive and exciting miniature Bond movie just by itself. It won the British Design Award and Art Director Gold Award in 1965. Just lovely.
Looking at the Goldfinger intro in the original, we can make a couple of assumptions. First, for example, we're going to need a dark room, just like in a cinema. It's just the nature of projections that the lowest illumination of the room is equivalent to the darkest part in your projection. So a dark room has to be there. Secondly, we're going to need some form of backlighting. And for once, we don't want to have a soft light that spreads nice and evenly, but we want to have a harsh light to cast a sharp silhouette on the back. So a single source light with a Frenzel might be the best for that. We're definitely going to need a tripod, and I think for some shots a slider would be very nice. Let's look into the studio where the original was shot, and we have some photos here, and maybe we can learn something from those. As we can see, everything is pretty straightforward as to be expected. I'm a bit surprised about the size of the room. That's a small room, and that they're closer to the subject than I thought they would be. And I wonder how little the crew did to really darken the room. It's really just right behind the backlight and right behind the camera where the room is really darkened. I don't know, maybe they have some curtain they put in and out of the screen which you just don't see on this photograph. Maybe other photos will reveal a bit more. Once the room is dark, we see there we have a nice contrast and everything works out. We see the silhouette of the backlight, and we see nice projection. This is exactly how we're going to do it, and we're not going to really need a big room. So I think our dining room would be great because she's on a table, and so we are going to use a table, our dining table, to do the same job. One of the key ingredients of the whole image, of course, is the gold color. And it's going to be a combination of body paint, of lighting, and of the white balance in the camera. In the film itself, you have a couple of scenes with a dead woman being covered in gold color. And in the film, it is a very, very rich color, and it looks almost as if it's gold-plated. I knew to start with that's going to be difficult to achieve a look that is that strong. But when we look again at a set photo of this one, we see that it actually looks pretty normal to begin with. And this is just a body paint you can easily buy on Amazon or Equal. And that's exactly what we did. And I'm quite happy with the result of that paint. So we're going to need a dark room, we're going to need a table, we're going to need a tripod, we're going to need a slider, we're going to need a backlight, and we're going to need some color, and we're going to need the most precious ingredient of them all, which is a woman. Women are strange and dangerous creatures, so be careful. Luckily, we have a domesticated specimen of this creature, and I'm married to it. Her name is Christina, and as she's a brunette, we're gonna have to make her wear this. She's not gonna be happy about that.
Christina has the odd job, pun intended, to paint herself golden. That will take a while. Enough time for me to turn our dining room into our studio. I black out the background and brighter walls with muslin. The stands allow you to do that without ruining the walls. The heavy dinner table is perfect as a stage, so I cover the table and the floor with muslin as well. Tripods and motorized slider will give us a perfect placement for camera and the projector. I place my light on a small tripod that I will change later to be more flexible with the height. We will shoot with the Panasonic EVA 1 and record ProRes RAW to Shogun Inferno. I have a 42-inch Rhino slider with motion arc that allows us to program repeatable movements. I surely wish it had an app, as the cables tend to get in the way. And here is our golden girl, ready for a golden hour. The better you planned and pictured what you want, the less time you have to torture your model. I edited together my favorite sequences and graded them a bit to a golden look, so we can have the colors where we want them even before the grade. If you can, you should always do as much as possible in cam. Make sure you have the room heated a lot. remember that she's almost naked while you are not. Only the slides are shot on a wide lens. Here we use the Sigma 18-35 as it will emphasize the change in perspective. It is a bit hard to avoid the camera or a shadow in the projection, so I recommend to shoot everything else with longer lenses. That will also make it easier to avoid filming projection spill on the background. I use an 80mm f1.9 Mamiya and a Mamiya 80mm macro. Both are medium format lenses with an adapter, of course. For a good spirit, keep crew and talent well fed. Wait, that reminds me of something. Oh dear, here I go again. Finally, we know what the baby in 2001 wanted from us. Pizza.
Now that we have all the shots that we can possibly need, it's time to go into post. But as this is a bit technical, I would like to show you the end result first. So, this is Goldvader.
Goldvader, he's a man with a mighty tongue, a Sith Lord's tongue, such a cold Vader, beckons you to enter his web of sin, but don't go in. Words of force he will pour in your ear, but his lies can't disguise what you fear. For a Jedi Knight knows when he's touched him, it's the dark side's touch from Mr. Goldvader. Padawan, beware whose side you endorse. He's with the dark side of the Force. The dark side of Force. Only Force. The dark side of Force. Only Force.
Well, I hope you liked that. If you did, give us a like and subscribe to our channel. There are some more great things to come. Producing content with this quality takes up a lot of time. So it's nice to have a sponsor that helps us a bit out with us to give us the content that you deserve. The sponsor of this episode is NordVPN. And as this episode is Bond themed, let's do this in a filmmaker's way. Let's say epic.
The ancient art to be one with the shadows, to be a ghost, to disappear from the eyes of your enemies, to be in many places at the same time, to be as fast as the striking buckle. And it takes ages to learn that shit. Don't you wish there was an easy way to learn all this ancient arts in a second? There's NordVPN. With over 5,000 servers in 62 countries, you are invisible, uncatchable, and unpredictable. NordVPN gives you unlimited bandwidth while no traffic is logged. This is how you become a master ghost with the tip of your finger. Just install NordVPN's app on your PC, your Mac, or your mobile device and step out of the spotlight of your enemies. Rest assured that we will never recommend any product or service that we don't use or like ourselves. I often access content that is restricted in my country, and I have been using NordVPN for many years now. And I do appreciate their features, price, and their very responsive support. By using our coupon code MediaDivision, you will get 1 extra month on top of your NordVPN special cyber deal. With this discount coupon, the deal will only cost $2.99 per month, and you will get an additional free month to protect your online privacy. Find links and further information in the description of this video. Thank you, NordVPN.
Make sure to check them out, and with a Media Division deal, I think that's what one calls a no-brainer. Everything you need to know is in the description.
Let's go into post-production, and here we are on Final Cut Pro. That is the only NAA to support the ProRes RAW that we shot with the Panasonic EVA 1 and the Shogun Inferno. The image is great and we are close to 6K in terms of resolution. I will only do the primary grade in Final Cut and then export for editing in Premiere. I don't like Final Cut and Apple will not make me use it. Sorry. After the import, you will see that the high dynamic range is converted into shrill colors, and we are going to change that as I like to start grading from a log image. So you just select all clips and turn the Rec 709 conversion off, giving us log, vlog in this case. Now we start with applying a LUT. For this I exported an EVA 1 to Kodak film emulation LUT from the Film Convert app that I can recommend. And that gives us the Rec 709 starting point that doesn't cause eye cancer. We are going to do some tweaking with the color wheels. I want the image generally to be darker, and I'm going to lift the midtones, and I will also drag those into the yellow so we get more of a golden color that I'm looking for. In the curves I also apply contrast. High contrast will give you a look that is more metallic. As you can see, most unwanted details that were visible in the background are already gone, just by applying the primary grade. And believe it or not, this is it for the primary grade. So we export this to ProRes 444 to keep all the juicy color information for now. So we switch to Premiere. As you can see, I already have the final edit opened. From here it's very straightforward. I did little to nothing in Lumetri. I just apply a bit of a curve to each clip to make them fit each other. Sometimes minor color tweaking was applied for a better match between bright and dark scenes. I did some titles that resembled the original font, and as a graphic designer, that is where I have to brag a bit here. I got the right font with my first guess. Trade Gothic in a rounded version it is. Some scenes have still some faint fragments of the projections or the muslin in them. To get rid of them, we just apply a mask that we feather a bit. It's so simple as Christina is usually not moving herself. The scenes that did move have been shot in a wide-angle lens to emphasize the movement. The downside of that is that you cannot avoid filming the projection on the muslin. Premiere makes it easy for you, and right-click lets you send the sequence with all the right settings to After Effects. As a full step-by-step would be just too long and boring, I will just say that there are different techniques to do traveling masks in After Effects, including automatic tracking and Mocha. As we use the motorized slider, the movement is predictable. Simply drawing masks at starts and endpoints and applying some keyframes and Bezier curves for acceleration and deceleration will do the job. The render shows a clean sequence without an irritating background projection. Now that we have the edit, grade, effects and titles in place, we can take care of the music. As this is a parody, it needs its own lyrics. For playback I used an old live recording of the original orchestra that has no vocals. I just used the same mic setup that I used to record my voice now and sing a track right into Premiere. He's a man, the man with the mighty tongue. I think we can all agree that I should stop doing that. A friend of mine is a professional audio engineer and he was so kind to polish the mix a bit, so I don't sound quite as horrible. Thank you, Christoph, you're magic. His web of sin, but don't go in.
Well, in the end, this is a segment that I call We Do Mistakes So You Don't Have To. This project went really smoothly, and I didn't even get in a fight when I asked my wife to wear the wig. She actually liked it, so don't worry, we're cool. But there was one thing that really pestered me a lot, and that is this projector. Because many of you would say, oh, you should know that, but I didn't. I had no idea. This is a DLP projector, and when I bought this, I bought that actually not only watching movies in mind, but to use it for special effects primarily. So nobody told me that it's a bad idea to use a DLP projector for that, and you should use other technologies, but basically LCD or whatever is out there. And here is why. The DLP projector technology is based on a spilling color wheel that is right in front of the light source. And that will not go well with the shutter of your camera. I tried everything. I tried every kind of angle that you can possibly think of to make the lines disappear. And finally, in the end, I got the right idea. The only way actually to get it right is to actually switch off the shutter totally.
But even without an electronic shutter, you will see artifacts like color ghosting on fast movements, like here on the TIE Fighter, and here in the lightsaber fight. Camera projection and this upload are all exactly at 24 frames per second, and still we have ghosting that is not visible in the footage that has been used for the projection. The effect is less apparent in brighter scenes.
As always, I will put all the gears that we have used in the description, and I will put links on that, so if you want to buy them directly, you can. Don't forget to check out NordVPN's cyber deal. The link is in the description. And as always, like and subscribe if you found this interesting. We are very happy to get your feedback, and I usually answer each and every single one of your comments. Hope to see you soon here, and in the meantime, be the filmmaker that you always wanted to be. Punch a hole in the sky. Bye.